Disturbing true stories untold.
There is a town in central Pennsylvania called Harlow, population 2,200, one high school, one diner, one hardware store that's been owned by the same family since 1951. The kind of town where everyone waves when you drive past, where people leave their doors unlocked, where the July 4th parade has happened every single year without fail, for as long as anyone can remember. Nobody in Harlow can tell you exactly when the parade started. Ask them and they'll think for a moment and say something like, "Oh, forever," or "since before my time." Nobody finds that strange. Nobody thinks to find it strange. In the summer of 1987, something happened in Harlow, Pennsylvania, that the town has never, not once in nearly 40 years, spoken about publicly. No newspaper article, no police report filed with the county, no mention in the town council minutes, nothing in the local historical society archives. If you ask anyone who lived in Harlow in 1987 what happened that summer, they will smile at you, a perfectly normal smile. And they will say the same 5 words that every single person says. It was a good summer. Every person, same 5 words, same smile. I have a box of documents that says otherwise, and tonight, I'm going to show you what's in it. Six months ago, I received a package in the mail with no return address. Inside was a shoebox sealed with electrical tape. Inside the shoebox were 29 items. The items included 14 handwritten diary entries, 8 photographs, 3 newspaper clippings from the Harlow Gazette, the town's local paper, dated between June and August of 1987, 2 pages torn from what appears to be an official document. The header has been removed deliberately, a child's drawing on blue construction paper, and a single cassette tape labeled in black marker with 2 words, "Play alone." The box also contained items I have not been able to identify or explain. I am not going to describe them tonight. Some things you keep to yourself. I want to walk you through the rest in the order I believe they were intended to be read. Because whoever packed this box, whoever sealed it with electrical tape, and mailed it without a return address, they arranged everything deliberately. There is a sequence here. A story being told by someone who couldn't tell it any other way. The first item is a diary entry. The handwriting belongs to a woman. I know this because on the 3rd page she refers to herself by name. Her name is Carol Pfeiffer. She was 34 years old in the summer of 1987. She had lived in Harlow for as long as she could remember, or so she believed. She was a 3rd-grade teacher at Harlow Elementary. She had a husband named Ray, a daughter named Lily who was 9, and a son named Thomas who was 6. The first diary entry is dated June 3, 1987. It reads like an ordinary day. Hot weather, ate barbecue with neighbors. Ray fixed the screen door. Lily learned to ride her bike without training wheels. Thomas cried when he fell off his own bike and skinned his knee. The second entry is dated June 17th, 2 weeks later. And this is where something shifts. Carol writes, "The Alderson house has been quiet for almost a week now. Margaret said she saw Bill loading boxes into his truck last Tuesday, but nobody has heard from them since. Ray says they probably just went to visit family. I asked around at the school and nobody seems to know. Patricia at the post office says their mail has been piling up. I'm probably overthinking it." The third entry is dated June 29th. Carol writes, 3 more families on Clement Street haven't been seen in 2 weeks. Nobody's talking about it. At the grocery store today, I mentioned it to Helen Marsh, and she changed the subject so fast it made my head spin. I asked Ray again tonight, and he told me to stop asking questions. He has never said that to me in 14 years of marriage. Not once. I didn't sleep. The 8 photographs in the box are the reason I started losing sleep. Standard 4x6 prints, the kind you'd get developed at a drugstore in 1987. Most look ordinary. Street scenes, barbecue, a July 4th parade, a family portrait. Most. In the barbecue photograph, 11 people around a grill, laughing, holding paper plates. Normal in every way, except through the kitchen window of the house behind them, a figure stands completely still, facing outward, watching. Nobody in the yard is looking at the window. Whatever it isn't outside yet. It's in the kitchen. Learning, waiting until it knows them well enough to step out and join them. In the parade photograph, a crowd lines Main Street, American flags, children on shoulders, everyone watching the float. But scattered through the crowd, not together, distributed, are 7 people wearing the exact same expression. Not similar, identical, the same slight smile, the same tilt of the head, the same stillness behind the eyes. 7 different faces, one expression. As if something that doesn't fully understand happiness made one decision about what it looks like, and applied it to everybody it was wearing that day. The third photograph stopped me completely. A family portrait. Mother, father, 2 children, white clapboard house, sunny day. The kind of photograph that sits on a mantelpiece for decades without anyone looking at it closely. In the lower right corner, pressed hard into the surface in pencil. This is not my family, but I can't remember who is. And below that, different handwriting, older, someone else. I know, I tried too. Stop looking. 2 people, 2 different cycles, both aware, for just long enough to write it down. I have shown these photographs to 3 people I trust. One told me to throw the box away. She hasn't returned my calls since. Carol's 4th diary entry is dated July 8th. It is the longest entry in the box, 4 full pages, front and back. I'm going to read you the part that matters. She writes, I counted today. Since June I have noticed that at least 19 families on our street and the surrounding blocks have gone quiet, not moved. Their cars are still there. Their mail is piling up. Their lights come on at night on timers. But the people themselves I have not seen. I mentioned this to Patricia at the post office, and she looked at me for a very long time before she said, Carol, it's been a good summer, hasn't it? And then she turned back to her work. I came home and I sat in the kitchen for 2 hours. Ray came home at 6 and I asked him where the Aldersons went, and he said, Carol, it's been a good summer, hasn't it? His exact words, Patricia's exact words. I called my mother in Allentown that night. She said, honey, it sounds like a good summer. I have not left the house since. The 3 newspaper clippings from the Harlow Gazette tell their own story, but not in the way you'd expect. The first clipping is from June 19, 1987. It's a community events page. Pie contest at the church. Little League results. A notice about road resurfacing on Clement Street. Completely normal. The second clipping is from July 3rd. It announces the July 4th parade route and asks for volunteers. It lists the names of 14 parade committee members. Their names and addresses are printed clearly. The third clipping is from August 14th. It is a single column on the back page. It announces the results of the July 4th parade. It lists 8 winners of the float competition. It describes the crowd as the largest in Harlow's history. Here is what is wrong with the third clipping. Of the 14 parade committee members listed in the July 3rd announcement, not one of them is mentioned in the August 14th report. Not one. New names appear throughout, as if the entire committee was replaced between the announcement and the event. And the reporter's byline, which appears on both the first and second clipping, is absent from the third. Someone else wrote it. Someone whose name appears nowhere else in any edition of the Harlow Gazette, before or after that date. The 2 torn document pages are harder to read. The header has been removed, cut off cleanly with scissors, but enough remains to piece together their origin. Based on the formatting, the font, and the specific bureaucratic language used, they appear to be from a county-level assessment or investigation report. The phrase voluntary compliance agreement appears twice. The phrase community maintenance protocol appears 4 times. And on the second page, partially obscured by a water stain, is a sentence that I have read more times than I can count. It reads, Subjects demonstrating awareness of the transition period are to be managed in accordance with Appendix D, with priority given to minimizing external communication until the stabilization window closes. I cannot tell you what that means with certainty. I can tell you it was written by someone in an official capacity, and I can tell you that the stabilization window, whatever it refers to, appears to have a date written next to it in the margin in blue pen. Not typed, handwritten, as if someone added it later. The date is August 31st, 1987. The last diary entry in the box is dated August 29th, 2 days before that date. Carol writes, Ray came into the kitchen this morning and made coffee and asked what I wanted for breakfast, and I looked at his hands and I remembered something. Ray has a scar on his left hand, from when he cut it fixing the lawnmower. I was trying to remember when that happened. I can picture the afternoon, I can picture the blood, I can picture wrapping his hand in a dish towel. But I cannot place the year. I cannot place the year. I have been sitting here for an hour trying to remember when my husband cut his hand, and I cannot find the memory of when it happened. And then I realized I also cannot remember when we moved to this house. I have been trying for 2 hours now. I know we moved here. I know we have. But I cannot find the memory of the day we arrived. I cannot find the memory of packing boxes. I cannot find the memory of a life before this street. Lily asked me why I was crying, and I told her I was fine. She smiled at me. She has Ray's eyes. She always has. Ray has. What color are Ray's eyes? Why can't I remember what color Ray's eyes are? He's standing right in front of me. That is the last entry. There are no more diary pages after that. The child's drawing on blue construction paper is the second to last item in the box. It's a crayon drawing, the kind a 6-year-old makes. Wobbly lines, disproportionate figures, a house with a sun above it and a family standing in front. 4 figures, 2 tall adults, 2 smaller children. Underneath, in the unsteady handwriting of a child, a caption, "My family." In the top right corner of the drawing, there is a 5th figure, smaller than the others, drawn in black crayon only, standing slightly apart from the family group, not connected to them, just present, watching. A child's hand has written 2 words next to the black figure. The new one. I stared at that drawing for a long time. Then I listened to the cassette tape. It runs for 11 minutes and 40 seconds. For the first 8 minutes, silence. Recorded silence. The kind with texture. A room. Breathing. The faint sound of a refrigerator hum. Someone sitting in a kitchen, holding a recorder, not speaking. At the 8-minute mark, a woman's voice speaks. 1 sentence. If you found this, then you're already asking the wrong questions. Silence for another 40 seconds. Then, don't ask what happened to us. We're still here. Silence. Then very quietly, almost not there at all, ask what happened to the ones who were here before us. The tape ends. I sat with that for a week before I understood what she was saying. Carol Pfeiffer didn't disappear. Ray didn't disappear. Lily and Thomas didn't disappear. The 19 families on their street didn't disappear. They're still in Harlow. Right now. Today. The question Carol was asking in that final diary entry. Why she couldn't remember when Ray cut his hand. Why she couldn't remember the day they moved. Why she couldn't find a single memory of a life before that street. Wasn't about Ray changing. It was about her. Her memories weren't fading. They were being removed. Quietly. Completely. One by one. Until nothing remained that predated Harlow. The stabilization window. The transition period. The voluntary compliance agreement. Carol Pfeiffer wasn't documenting what was being taken from Harlow. She was documenting the moment before she stopped being able to remember that anything was ever different. The box wasn't sent to warn me about what happened to the town. It was sent by someone in the last hours before she became part of it. The last thing she could do was make sure someone on the outside knew that the people smiling at you in Harlow, waving as you drive past, leaving their doors unlocked. They are not the first ones to live in those houses. They just don't remember the ones who were there before, and neither do the ones before them. How long has it been happening? I kept pulling on that thread. Harlow, Pennsylvania was founded in 1887. The July 4th parade has been held in Harlow every single year since its founding. Not since 1963. Not since anyone can remember. Since 1887. 138 years. Not one missed parade. Not one year without the flags and the floats and the crowd on Main Street and the families waving from the sidewalk. Every single one of those families completely certain they have always been there. None of them able to tell you exactly when the parade started, because none of them were there when it did. I tried to find Carol Pfeiffer. There is a Carol Pfeiffer listed in the Harlow, Pennsylvania White Pages. She is listed as a retired school teacher. I noticed something when I looked at the listing carefully. It shows her at the same address for decades. No previous addresses listed. No record of her anywhere before Harlow. No childhood home, no college town, no first apartment. Just Harlow. Just that house. Just that street. As if she arrived fully formed. I called the number. A woman answered, warm voice, friendly. She sounded like someone's grandmother. She sounded like someone who had lived a full and happy life in a small town in Pennsylvania and had absolutely nothing to hide. I told her I had received a package I thought might be hers. I described the box, the diary, the photographs, the cassette tape. I read her the first line of the first diary entry. June 3rd, 1987. A hot day, a barbecue. Ray fixing the screen door. There was a pause. Not a long pause, just a beat. The kind of pause that comes before a prepared answer. And then she said, in a voice as warm and easy as a summer afternoon, "I'm sorry, honey. I think you have the wrong number. It sounds like a good summer, though, doesn't it?"
Disturbing true stories untold.